All right, we're live, folks. Sorry about that. I messed up the beginning here. I didn't even have the countdown. We're supposed to do that countdown. It builds up all that excitement. So we're ready to roll. Can't wait. 30, 29, 28. It's so exciting. Messed that up. I didn't even have my music on. That's horrible. You guys want to hear a little bit of the opening music? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Mr. Sandy LaFontaine. Welcome to Denise Beckham. Really good to have you tonight, Denise. Good to have everybody. Good to have Sandy LaFontaine. Good to have Brian at 65. My biggest enemy is time, he says. All right. All right, guys. My name is Patrick Rooney. I am the founder of oldschoolus.com. Natural health, success, and freedom. It's old school is not a natural success. It's not a natural health, success, and freedom. But when I say what old school is, I take that little moment in my mind. So I go, give myself a moment to say, okay, what is old school? Oh, yeah. And then I can spit it out. But actually, old school has been old school for, as I said before. Hello, Fabian, as well. Good to have you. Old school has been old school since forever. And as I said last week, I believe old school kind of came from an idea from my parents who were old schoolers. They were products of the Great Depression. And they kind of taught me the old school values. And weren't perfect. Most parents are not. No parents are perfect, of course. They weren't perfect, certainly. But hey, they got me through it. They did as well as they could. They did what they could see. They had limitations, as we all do, and they did the best that they could. Tim T. Greetings, everybody. Very good. Good to see you, Tim. Tonight, I decided to. I'm not going to do. I do this a lot, and when I do this, for some reason, YouTube picks this up and then puts it in my picture. They want me to use that as a picture. I guess when you wave on the screen, it gets them excited somehow. So how's that? How's two hands? Yeah. Hey, Martin Francis. Hello, fellow chatters. Martin Francis checking in. Good to see you, Martin. Very good to see you. Guys, I think today is going to be a little different tonight. I'm not planning on doing any shows for a little while. I have to do some transition here. So I'm going to be probably out of the picture a little bit. Also, I kind of had some ideas for shows I wanted to do, but I want to tell you guys, after last week's show, I changed course, and I want to tell you why. I thought I did a good show last week. I forgot what we were even talking about last week, to tell you the truth. But whatever we were talking about, I thought it went pretty good, and I did it solo, did it with you guys. Had a few notes here and there, but I basically got on a couple rolls, and I thought I was kind of nailing it pretty good. And then so that's kind of the way I went to bed. Next morning, I get up, and my wife tells me, you didn't do such a good job. And I don't know what word she used, but basically she said that she could see some negatives in me towards some of what I was saying, I think, and towards some of the people and things like that. And then my son called me and said basically the same thing. He said he saw some evil in me. And I thought about it. I said, and it kind of hurt when people give you criticisms, it kind of punches you in the stomach a little bit, right? And but that's not really you, I don't think. That's just like another thing that is in here. And that thing doesn't like criticism. It's very proud and doesn't like to hear anything bad about itself. And so I'm kind of like hurt. Oh, really? The people that are supposed to be backing me, like my family, are basically telling me the show wasn't, I really wasn't very good, in the sense that I didn't act correctly. And then I thought about it, and I realized, wow, I kind of think it back to the show a little bit. And I realized, yeah, what I did is I kind of, I came in a little too hot and heavy on my friends and anybody. I mean, my friends or anybody out here, but I have friends, old friends and things like that. And we disagree all the time, and that's okay. But one of my friends told me I was being weak about something. And no man wants to be called weak, right? So it's like, oh, you called me weak. And something inside me wanted to, there's something in there that wants to defend you. There's like a good defender and then there's like a bad defender. The bad defender is like this ego thing that's inside of us. And so, so I don't want to hear that. And so I got a little harsh with him, I think on the show last week and with my other friends, with Fabian, with my friend Robert Campbell. I don't know if he's watching now or is going to watch it later, and I got people mad at me. And a lot of times when you get people mad at you, you think, oh, great, I'm getting people mad at me. I must be on the right track. I'm getting people mad at me. And you kind of get puffed up about that. Yeah, people are reacting to me. What do you call that when you do online? People love to do that to each other online. It's like they like to get each other. And it's like a war out there all the time. It's like, if I can get you, if I can rip you real good, then I've won somehow for my side. And it's really kind of crazy. And I apologize. I had to call up several of my friends and apologize to them because of just not necessarily what I said, but how I said it and the kind of spirit that I took on to do it. And even the spirit that you can take on can cause you to say things that you don't want to say, right? You get angry, and there's kind of like another identity that comes over you in a way. And none of us like to really admit this unless we're really honest with ourselves, but there is another identity inside. And I hate to say this, but I think I'm kind of giving away the show a little bit. I was going to ask you guys, what do you think our biggest enemy is? And I just gave up the secret here. It's okay, but I don't know if it was obvious in the show title I was doing, or if you guys really think we have serious enemies out there that who's the biggest one and so forth. And this kind of brings up another thing, because as I said last week, my whole life I've pretty much been kind of a news junkie. My father was a news junkie too, and I think I got that from him. I remember driving around. We had this old station wagon, this old with the wood on the side, the fake wood. And it was a Ford. My dad wouldn't drive anything but Fords, but we were driving around, and I remember listening to the radio, and they were talking about this thing called the Vietnam War. And they were talking about, I think it was Cambodia or Saigon at the time. And I'm just driving around the back of the station wagon like a kid, just having some fun or wanting to have fun in my life. But then this kind of stuff came on the news and kind of bothered me. And sometime after that, maybe I was just following my dad or something like that, but I ended up kind of getting into the news and stuff like that. So what I realized that I've done, hey, Jay Herb, good to see you, man. Our biggest enemy right now is China, Jay says. They are running the White House. Well, that's true. They are running the White House. I can't argue with that. But I just to follow up the story, I was driving around, and all of a sudden I got introduced to this stuff, and I started listening to stuff. And pretty soon it made a period of years where I was just into stuff like this. I was into the news. I've been looking at the Drudge Report for 20 years, probably. Now I don't look at it. I still look at it to see what the other side is doing. They totally corrupted the Drudge Report. So for those that don't know, it used to be a good website. Now it's corrupt. And I look at Fox. Yeah, they corrupted Fox too. And Fox caved to Dominion. Amazing. There's a lot we could say about that as well. But I'm kind of not really talking too much politics tonight. You guys can welcome to say whatever you want. But my point is, I've kind of got to a point with news and things like that. And I think it's valuable to a point, but to a point, it just gets us angry about stuff that we can't control. And if you think about the news, it's national it's national, so it's international, but they're getting you to think about stuff and get mad at stuff that nothing. I mean, what are you going to do this moment about a guy in the White House who shouldn't be there, who has been bought off by foreign countries, and him and his family, and they're basically just grifting and selling they're selling access to power. I mean, what else would they be making money for? They don't have any skills. So we can get mad at that. We can get mad at what China did to us, or what people in the U.S. did and handed off to China, basically the shots. We can get mad at people that did stuff or didn't stand up. We can get mad at them too. We can get mad at Russia if we want. We can get mad at, there's lots of things we can get mad at. I mean, every day. I looked at the news again a little bit before the show. they are doing right now. Biden is with the power grid. He's actually penalizing the companies that give power to our power grid. So it's like they're, and I know this for a while. I know a lot of you do too. They're on purpose taking us down, right? It's so obvious. You'd have to be the dumbest person on earth to be making the moves that they're making and not be doing them on purpose. I get that. I think a lot of you get that too. But they're so ensconced in power that it's like, wow, what do you do? I mean, and that's just the people you see in the front. You don't see the puppet master in the White House basement. You don't see the CIA and the NSA and the FBI and all of these alphabet soup agencies who are basically been running our country for decades surreptitiously. They change whoever goes in power. They picked who Ukraine's president was going to be. They picked. We've been doing this for years. I was telling this last night. We've been doing this for years to other countries. We've been picking who's going to run their country, right? The people behind the scenes are picking who's going to run somebody else's country. And I think because we didn't stop it, it's all kind of come back on us. And now, basically, somebody's picking our leader for us now, too. We have selected leaders now. And we probably have had selected leaders for a few election cycles. But I do want to say with the news, I think, a recovering addict. And what I want to do as much as possible in my future, whatever my future is going to be, I want to be useful to whatever our cause is, the cause of freedom, all those things. I don't want to waste people's time. I don't want to get people too angry about stuff that we can't do. So I've kind of talked a lot lately about about taking over your counties. My friend Denise Beckham has been great about doing things in her own area. She's working with Convention of States and other people and doing good work. And there's people in our counties. My county here has been doing stuff. Our county's been doing stuff here where I am now in Florida, and that can be farmed out to other counties. Because if you look at the map, and I think I said this last week, if you look at the map of the United States, most of the counties in the United States are red. You've seen the county maps, like how we do in the elections. Most of them are red. So if you want to have an impact, you do it at the county level. But that's not the biggest impact at all. So I'm going to take a few of your comments, and I want to get to like the biggest impact, or I think the biggest enemy at all, and really kind of drill down on this a little bit and see if we can talk about some things that might free us up a little bit to help us overcome this enemy. Let me see if I missed some things. I'm getting a lot of comments. Let's see. Our biggest enemy, Iraqi immigrant says, our biggest enemy is the devil and ourselves. Good answer, Iraqi immigrant. Fabian says the words in our head, all same darkness. I think he said same darkness. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. I need to eat some more carrots or something. I'm blurry looking at your comments, guys. I hate to say that. Martin says Foxes, I think he means Fox. The company Fox is owned by huge corporations, or maybe he does mean Foxes, owned by huge corporations. So they are going to set the limits on the news and opinion people. Yeah, that is true. And like I said before, all news tends to be getting you mad. Look at what they do. They get you mad, even the best of them. And there's some people I really like on the radio and things, but even the best of them tend to get outraged, and it affects their delivery. And the next thing you know, you're feeling that. When you hear their news, you're feeling it, especially because you can't do nothing about it. And we got to change that into stuff that we can do about, which we can do. All right. Fabian says, talk feeds the vitamin. Vitamin? Talk radio feeds the vitamin. What are you talking about? Over and over and makes lots of money doing it. I don't listen anymore. Yeah, it doesn't help me. Yeah. I think it's good to know a little bit about what's going on nationally. You want to know a little bit, but only enough to affect locally and what you can do. I want to really be on this topic now of education. I want to help people do maybe what I screwed up and didn't do in my life. I mean, I can tell you guys what to do, but that would be pretty hypocritical. So it's better, I think, to see where you've really screwed up and see where you need God in your life. And I've done a lot of that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of an expert at screwing up. So I think I've become wiser just because I've screwed up so much. Let's see. Problem. He says Roy was the only one effectively talking about how not to be irritated by our enemies. Now it's all chatter that isn't really helpful much. Yeah, it is about, and he was a great man who definitely talked about the interior. He's not the only one, but in his day, he was the top voice for decades, really, in my opinion. Denise says it's all about the mighty dollar. Just follow the money. Go to George Soros destroying America. It is. And it's gotten really, didn't again, I hate to repeat things I said last week, but I said something that somebody else said, which was somebody else repeated, which was hell at some point. Somebody just talked to me about this, talked about a battle in heaven. And then the battle fell out and the battle went to hell. And now hell is rised up on the earth, right? In the last, I don't know, 20 years, but it's getting faster and faster where the battle is here and the battle is evil. And evil has entered the United States. It's entered everywhere. It's entered our homes. It's entered us. And I think that's what I really want to kind of talk to you guys about tonight. Mr. Sandy LaFontaine says, take control of your garden, your food supply, midlighter gardening method. He's a big proponent of midlighter. From what I can see, I think it's pretty good. I'm not an expert on gardening. I do know that midlighter, they all have their ups and downs, but one of the big pluses of midlighter is it's great for people who don't know anything about gardening. If you don't know nothing about gardening, it can get you, it kind of gives you the manual, so to speak, and gets you up to speed right away. And in this day and age, there's a lot to be said for that. Jay says, I agree with getting involved at local level. I just got elected to my homeowner association board. Right on, Jay. Thinking about pursuing a city council seat. Jay, you would be good at that. Jay is a smart young man. I know him from back in the Bond days. Yeah, smart young dude. I guess not as young anymore, right? So a few years have gone down the road. I guess none of us are spring chickens anymore, right? All right. Yeah, get storage food too. Fabian said, yeah, need reading glasses. Yeah, I need one of your one of those the things that you talk about that help people have better eyesight or whatever. Storageable food, we might not be able to get them. Yeah, I get that for sure. People should definitely store up on food. Okay, Martin is going to give me a talking to now, and he says, you haven't figured it out yet, Patrick. We should be focusing everything on our spiritual life and our friends' spiritual life and try to help anybody who will listen to drop their anger. I totally agree. Well, I don't totally agree. I mostly agree, but I'm going to use our founding fathers as a kind of guidepost here. And these guys, you should be caring about your temporal life as well. Granted, our spiritual life is the most important thing because that's what lasts forever. But we should be protecting the people here. We should be protecting the children. As they say, look after the widows and the orphans, the Bible says. We should be protecting the widows, the orphans, and all the people that should be protected. There's a reason to have a government here on earth. We shouldn't be so high-minded that we just don't think about that stuff at all. That's part of the problem. We've given up the politics side. I'm not saying at all to give up politics, at all. I'm saying just do something locally. You're in better chance and then work your way up if you want to. But we have given our country over, not just spiritually, absolutely spiritually, but physically too, to the enemy. Not every Democrat is our enemy, but the spirit behind our Democrats is the enemy, because all Democrats that I know of on the national level are pro-abortion. And you can't be pro-abortion and love God at the same time. I don't care. I'm not trying to blow somebody up here. I'm just telling you a fact. You can't be for murder and be for loving God at the same time. So we do need to be taking back our counties, county by county. And you can do that. There's no reason to sit around and just not do it. I think, again, I'm not trying to tweak anybody here, but I think there's a certain, and not everybody can do it. People have to focus on something real important to them at the time. It might be their health. It might be something else. And definitely spiritual is first, but most of us should be doing something politically to be protecting ourselves physically. Okay. Fabian says it's part of the plan. The demons. I can't read everything, guys, so forgive me. I don't think any live stream reads everything, right? Martin says, as a country, we will be judged very soon. There will not be a Republican winning presidential race. I don't know that, but I suspect that is true, particularly because we haven't fixed our elections. A lot of us, that's another thing. We get sucked into the presidential politics game. It's not necessary even to pick a candidate right now. You don't have to even pick a candidate at the moment. But what you should be doing is fixing your elections, fixing the mail-in ballot situation, fixing the machines, all that stuff. That's way beyond, and people aren't doing that, and it's shameful that it isn't being done. So yes, the Republicans will not win this next election unless there's a almost miraculous sign that people are going to start to do stuff for this country. And again, I'm not downplaying any of the spiritual stuff, because if we continue to kill let the babies die in the womb, right? So many millions have died since Roe v. Wade, whatever it is, 64, 5, 6, whatever it is, million. We're letting our children have their bodies. I'm going to have to take, we're letting our children have their bodies mutilated. It's so wrong. We're letting people die, as, Fabian's pointed out, with the shot and things like that. So many people have died. So there are things that we're doing wrong. And not only just that, but even at a more basic level than that, not just our actions, but our lack of love. If you read the Bible, it talks about in the end times, their love will grow cold. And our love has grown cold. And I think that's what I saw last week. And I saw that creeping up in myself. And I said, wow, you really got to watch this stuff and repent for this stuff. And just ask God to and I have asked God to take out my anger before, and things that are in me that I don't want in me. And I prayed, and I'll continue to pray for those things. And I do continue to pray and meditate on a daily basis. And I really believe everybody should be doing that. Denise said, get rid of machines, paper ballots, hand count. Yeah, thanks for mentioning all those things. Hand count them, mail-in ballots only for the deployed military, and no early voting for a start. I agree. We need to do all those things. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to hang out long tonight. I didn't want to necessarily say too much. I want to give you guys a chance to talk and things. I missed something from Sandy LaFontaine. Coconut oil has 2,000 calories per cup. 5-gallon bucket provides enough food energy requirements for adults for 80 days. Prepare for shortages so we can continue to fight when they cut us off. Yeah, you should prepare for whatever you need. And that's the other thing. Get used to start learning some skills, if at all possible. I can't take back the amount of time I've lost going too far into national politics and not being concerned enough with myself, with my family, with being a good example. I can't take that stuff back, but none of us can, but we can change now. And that's what I think we really need to be focusing on now. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there for tonight. Again, I don't know when I'm coming back on for the time being. I'm being in a little transition now, but I think where my life is going, hopefully, I just want to do what's most useful and what I'm best at, and what I can do to be of most help, whatever it is to you guys. And I think that part of that is for us to be in contact with each other, stay in contact with each other, and start learning from each other. We all have something. All of us are screwed up in different ways, but all of us have something important to teach each other. And I think we got to start looking at that, because we have kind of a circular firing squad going on where we tend to kind of go after our own side, so to speak. And I'm not saying there's not good reasons to go after some of the people on our side, so to speak, but we can't forget each other, and we can't forget what we're here to do, and that's help each other overcome whatever that is. As Martin said, that's anger and becoming a better person to start with, number one. And number two, just better in life, just be more prepared. We are going into some very serious times here. Everybody knows it. I don't have to tell you anything. You guys can see the news as well as I can. We're going into very serious times, and we're going to need to step up our game. And we need to pray to God that he gives us the wisdom, but also to start with, gives us love for each other. Because it doesn't matter, as the Bible talks about, You can be as wise as whatever. You can say the most beautiful things. You can do this and you can do that. But if you don't have love, you don't have anything. So we really need to be considering that and finding love within ourselves and uh, helping other people to find love. Brian, good to see my good friend Brian. And he says, "Is this a flow of consciousness podcast?" Yeah. I said tonight I was going to just talk about things that were important to me personally that I think need to be dealt with. And I kind of didn't purposely do any notes. I mean, this is probably the first show I didn't do any notes. And that's kind of scary when you do it, but I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys and be real about it a little bit. Mr. Sandy, I'll read a few of your things, guys. So you guys have a few more comments, but I'm not going to keep you real long tonight. Is this Martin, Mr. Sandy LaFontaine said, Martin's right about prioritizing our spirituality. Oh, absolutely. I got to tell you guys, I've been meditating, praying silently, closing my eyes and praying silently, being still inside. I've been doing that for a long time, and I have not risen to heaven yet. I'm not flying away on a cloud. Okay. I have been blind even while I was doing those things. So just doing that is not, it's important. I've been doing it night and day for decades, but it's important, but you can also be hypnotized in certain ways. And it's really important that we see reality, whatever that way that shows it, whether it shows us in prayer, whether it shows us through pain, whether we need to do some fasting to really see that stuff and be clear about it, whatever it is, it's really important that we see that stuff and give it up. And I'm a big proponent of meditation, as you guys know, but I am not going to be kind of where I'm going to say that that's the only thing you do in life at all. That is very important because the way you pray and meditate is kind of the way you go through your life anyway. But thank God I've been woken up to certain things. I get shocked on things on a regular basis that I didn't want to see, and I get shocked. And I'm just kind of shocking my way through life right now, just kind of one red pill moment after another. And I'm just learning as I go, like you guys. So Fabian said, I'm giving it full power, Captain. Yes. Oh, I didn't finish his comment. Martin's right about prioritizing our spirituality. Otherwise, those we need to enroll, those we reach out to will see us as the hypocrites we are. Exactly. If we are not right inside, if we're not honest with ourselves and others in the right way, just be honest, especially with ourselves. I had an old guy that I used to be at my old church, and he would say, you can lie to other people if you want. I'm not saying we should, but he said, but never lie to yourself. And that's so true. Don't just be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest with yourself, people will see that. And, you can't get through to them. It's like last week, I started to get mad at my friends here, and I'm getting people angry unnecessarily. I'm not saying they all reacted angrily to me, but I'm getting, some people angry with me, and it's not necessary. You don't have to get people angry. If they get angry with the truth that you say, that's fine. That's on between them and God. But don't tweak them to get angry with you. And that's what I was doing. So don't be a hypocrite. All right. Martin said elections are fixed. Absolutely. Denise said live long and prosper, Fabian. Right on. Yeah, life is amazing. All right. Almost done. A couple more comments here. Mr. Sandy LaFontaine says grow moringa trees in the parkways in front of the house between the sidewalk and the street. The leaves are edible and 42% vegetable protein. Wow, that's a lot of protein for a leaf. They may be the only protein you can get. Yeah, and you can get protein from vegetation if you need to. We may have to do that at some point. Fabian, yes, Patrick, and love loves the inner insight more than any person, no matter who. I agree. And we must be honest to our friends in the moment, of course. All right, guys. All right, am I going to do one more here? These men, Mr. Sandy LaFontaine, these men want to go live in caves. They wore animal skins and ate wild locusts. These men were too good for the world. They did not inherit what God promised. That sounds like something out of the Bible. Anyway, guys, read your Bible too. Don't be ashamed of the Bible. I know people that talk about Bible thumpers. Don't be a Bible thumper. Yeah, don't be a hypocrite. A Bible thumper, I would say in the truest sense, is a hypocrite. It's somebody who throws Bible at people or something else. I almost feel like I'm going to sneeze here, guys. I'm holding it off. They throw Bible verses at people, and but they live hypocritically. You can't throw Bible at people and be angry with people. You can't throw a Bible at people and curse people out. You can't live improperly. You can't sin in different various ways. Just be out there just doing whatever the heck you want and pretending it's okay because you read the Bible or you're a Christian or something. So let's be good Christians. I mean, Christianity to me, as I said before, I think is the greatest religion I can think of. I mean, um, the religion that brings you back to the kingdom of heaven inside instead of having to think about a million different laws, right? Or maybe not following God at all, or following God but being angry with other people, and some religions will even try to kill you if you don't go with their religion. That's crazy. So it's the religion of forgiveness. That's what Jesus said. Forgive us, or at the Our Father prayer, forgive us as we forgive, right? So it's really important. Forgiveness is the central part of Christianity. And we should be living that and showing that to people. So God willing, we are more and more. I hope in my life I'm getting better, so to speak. I hope that you all are getting better. It is unknown if they grew pointed ears. Oh, brother, talking about Spock. You guys are getting ridiculous. Anyway, I said enough. I'm not going to keep you guys long tonight. It's going to be one of my shorter ones. But go to, if you want to be of help to what I'm doing and keep in contact with what I'm doing, go to oldschoolus.com. That's my website. I will be posting here and there as best I can, and we'll see when I'll be on next again. Let me know if this stuff is helpful to you. If Brian, if this stream of consciousness stuff is and spiritual stuff is helpful to you guys. If I get thrown off of here for any reason, I've been hanging on here a lot longer than I thought on YouTube. But if I do for any reason, you can also find me on Rumble. Go to Old School with Patrick Rooney. Old School with Patrick Rooney on Rumble. If you need to get in touch with me, contact me at info@oldschoolus.com, info@oldschoolus.com. And also, of course, subscribe, because if I do put something up, I may do it on short notice. So hit the subscribe button there. So if I got something that I need to talk about on the fly, and that might be happening before I do a regular scheduled live stream, I may be doing something on the fly that you guys can find out about. So keep that in mind and subscribe so you can get all that stuff. Anyway, I wish all you guys the best. Thank you for coming tonight. And we will see you next time, whenever next time is. We will see you next time. So have a good night.